to the Generate group for the next 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to be your guide, interviewer, community leader, whatever cool tribe leader name we want to come up with. Today, I'm interviewing my friend, Elise Archer, and I got to tell you, I'm super pumped up because she just dovetails beautifully into what we're trying to do here. She is an expert in video lead generation, in personal branding. I'm going to actually keep an eye up here in the corner on the Facebook thread, just in case there's any questions that people come in. First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, how's the pregnancy coming and when's the baby due?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, pregnancy is coming along. So it's actually been funny just to be doing everything on Zoom. It's like a lot of people have made me feel good because they've said, I can't tell that you're pregnant right now. So that, of course, has made me feel good, but I've got a giant belly that you just can't see right now. So baby is due August 2nd. So we're getting there. We're getting there, but things are going well. Baby's kicking and dancing all the time. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm loving it.
That's awesome. What are you most looking forward to, by the way? We'll get right into some branding here in a second, but what are you most looking forward to as far as being a mom?
That's a good question. I've wanted to be a mom for so long. I mean, I think I told you this, we were in the adoption process when we found out we were pregnant because we just wanted to have a kid so bad. So I'm looking forward to all of it. You gave me good prep today when I hopped on the Zoom and heard the screaming children in the background. It was a good reminder of this is really going to help me be patient and grow in that area. So, but we're just so excited for all of it. I don't know if there's one thing.
That's awesome. Well, I just want to say to Andrew, Victor, Casey, Mark, if you're here watching this live, do me a favor, leave a question, hit the like button, like start a watch party, because Elise is going to add so much value and information. So let's just get into it first. Like when somebody says, personal branding, and I think this has become a big catchphrase since the rise of Gary Vee a few years ago, what's the difference between personal branding and lead generation? Because I think they're distinctly different, but we haven't talked in this group yet about why they're different. So maybe you could talk about, what's lead generation versus personal branding?
Yeah, I love this question. So I think at the end of the day, your personal brand is just your reputation, right? If we were going to make it really, really simple. Now, I think for most of my clients and for a lot of people who are working on building their personal brand, the end goal is often to generate leads more easily, right? It's like the better known you are, the more leads and opportunities come in. So one of the things that we talk about my company Brand Builders Group is reputation always precedes revenue. So if you're not hitting your revenue goals, it's not necessarily that you have a revenue problem. It's more likely that you have a reputation problem. So either people don't know you well enough, they don't trust you, or they don't clearly understand what you do, or just not enough people know about you. So you can build a profitable business without having a strong personal brand in your space. It's just going to take some more tactical hands-on, like direct outreach kind of approach to your lead generation. But I think the more that you can grow your personal brand and your influence in the space, the more people come to you. It's kind of like you're a magnet, not a megaphone, and people are coming to you, seeking you out. So the lead generation piece is a lot easier.
Okay, we gotta break that down real quick, because you said two things in there that I love. You said you want to be a magnet, not a megaphone. I love that, because I'm kind of a loudmouth and I don't have any problems talking to a lot of people. And I know some people watching right now, Brittany, Jeremy, Andrew, Victor, they're probably grew up in that sales culture where it's like you just outbound, call. You're a megaphone. You talk to as many people. So I want to dig into megaphone versus magnet. And then you also said something in there that reputation precedes profit. So maybe you can pick one of those two and dig in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's speak to the reputation piece first. So when you're looking at creating a reputation, there's two different components that come into your reputation. So we have something we call the reputation formula, which is your results multiplied by your reach equals your reputation. So results times reach equals reputation. Sometimes people will look at a leader in their space and they'll say, how the heck did they do it, right? What was the strategy? How did they build that reputation? There's two key components. So the first, the results, is you have to be good at what you do. If you're not, you can build a reputation, but it's not going to be the reputation that you want. So results are having clear messaging. How can you help? Being very clear on your positioning, being able to articulate that. And even if you've got all those things, though, if nobody knows about it, you're the best kept secret in town, and you're not doing yourself or anybody else a favor either. So the reach piece is how many people know about you. So those two key components combined are what form what we call a rock solid reputation. So the stronger your results, the more people who know about it equals your reputation. So as you focus on building out those things, that's part of how you can transition from being a megaphone into more of a magnet. And usually for most people at the beginning too, you gotta do the megaphone thing, right? Like if you're just starting out and you need to generate leads, it's like you've got to do the roll up the sleeves, do the hardcore prospecting, the cold calling. There's some of that that goes into it for everyone at the beginning. But the beautiful thing is if you are simultaneously focusing on building your reputation in your space, over time it transitions from more of a push where you're reaching out, you're initiating contact, you're having to kind of sell people on working with you, to a pull where people are coming to you. So the question sometimes becomes, how do you do that? How do you make that transition? I think the key is to get really, really focused and clear. There's this concept that we talk about called Sheehan's Wall, and it's named after this consultant named Peter Sheehan, who studies brands and corporations who become bestsellers in their space to see what is it that they do differently than everybody else. And we kind of took this model and applied it to personal brands and to individuals. And essentially what Peter says is in every industry, there's an invisible wall. And on one side of the wall, you've got people who are well known. And on the other side, you've got people who aren't as well known. And on the side of the unknown, everyone wants to break through. So they see the opportunity if they have a big social following. They see the opportunity if they were speaking on stages or more influential in their community. They want to make the income, they want to have the impact. But the challenge is you've got this invisible wall dividing the two. And what happens is people will try to come at the wall, but they'll do it from all different angles. So they won't be clear on what's their social media strategy. How are they very clearly positioned in their space? What's the very clear problem that they solve for people? Who specifically are they going to help? So they come at the wall from all these different angles, and there's nothing that's ever strong enough to break through. So they end up having what we call brand dilution, and they kind of just bounce back off. The people who do break through, though, are the ones who say, look, even though I could build a reputation around 10 different things, I'm going to go all in on building a reputation and becoming known for this one core thing, helping a specific group of people solve a specific problem. I'm going to have a very specific focused social media and lead generation strategy with it. And they go all in on that thing. And because they're so focused, there's a visual that makes all this a lot easier that I can send you if you want to post it afterwards. But
Perfect.
Because they're so focused, what happens is they come at the wall in a very direct, focused way. And it's literally just a matter of time with enough consistency and clarity of messaging that you break through that wall. And then once you're on the other side, it's like the world opens up. You can build your brand around more things. You've got more people reaching out to you. That's when you're on the pull side of Sheehan's Wall. So that's the whole strategy, is get really, really focused on how are you unique? How are you different? Who are you serving specifically? And that helps you break through that wall and become that magnet.
Yeah, and I know we've got a couple of people watching, Carrie, Jamie, Brian. They work in the mortgage and the title insurance space, and some different, sales funnels that go through the housing industry. And I was on a call the other day with Jamie where you're joking, like, there's just nothing sexy about our job. Like putting somebody in debt for 30 years isn't particularly sexy, or, she sells a title policy for that moment in time where maybe the 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100, title transfers of a house go sideways. Like people don't really understand this, and it's not intrinsically sexy. We're not selling a pretty red dress, or we're not selling the actual house where people are going to live their dream. So let me just ask, like, if you haven't done any of this personal branding stuff and you want to start to like chip through that wall to be like, all right, well, in my space, I really want to be known. What's something tactical that myself, Brian, Carrie, Jeremy, what's something tactical that we'd be like, all right, I believe you, at least, like, I know I need to have a personal brand for my reputation and get my reach out there, but I don't want to bounce all over the place. Like where do I start if I don't have the money to hire a firm like the one that you work for, which is a big boy marketing firm that if anybody wants a real full laid out strategy, we'll make sure the contact information is here. But where can somebody start if they haven't started before?
Yeah, great question. Well, and here's what's great too, is that's part of why I think this is so important if you are working in a non-sexy industry, which a lot of my clients are, because the best asset you have is you. At the end of the day, the best thing to make it sexy, to make it intriguing, to make it interesting, to connect with people is you being the face of your business and your company. That's what people connect with. People follow people, they don't follow companies. So if somebody is looking to figure out, okay, how do I just start to get my name out there and build my reputation, a really easy exercise that you can do is just do a brainstorm. Sit down and think about, for your ideal customer, what are all the questions they would have surrounding your industry? And it doesn't have to be specific to title, right? Like most people probably aren't sitting around asking a million questions about title insurance, but they may be asking questions about real estate, or they may be asking questions about homeownership, right? Like there's all these different things, and just doing a brainstorm of what are the questions kind of surrounding my industry and my space that my ideal customer would have. When we're working with clients, we try to get a list of 52 different questions. The idea behind it is that that actually gives you enough content for an entire year, if you come up with that list. And then the strategy is really simple. It's every single week, you're going to go on social media, you're going to do a short video and answer one of the questions that your ideal customer has. It's all about being of service. So what this does for you is it allows you to start to become a really valued resource and asset for your customers. And again, it brings your personality to the forefront. So they're going to get to know you. They're going to get to know like what your quirks are, what you're all about, how you communicate. And then the great thing is people are going to start to reach out to you and they're going to say, hey, like I've been following your videos for a while. I'm in the market now for a home or for a title policy or whatever it is. They have developed that trust with you. You're building relationships at scale this way, where you're building relationships with people you don't even know, who are watching your content, who are learning from you. And then when the time is right, you're going to be the one they think of. So that's like a simple, just tactical strategy that somebody could implement tomorrow, but focus on being of service and answering questions to people, and it'll come back to you.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm thinking of, if somebody really wants to put in the work and they're just not going to, blow this off as something else, like, oh, I'll get to it in a while. Sit down, brainstorm 50, just start with 10, it's 10 weeks worth of content. Start down with 10, 20, 30, 50 questions that your ideal client might ask in your space. And you're making me think of one of my favorite clothes brands is called I Am Project X. They make this like gym wear and stuff, and it's all very Hawaiian and beach theme and whatnot. And I was asking the question online, why are all workout shorts have pockets that are so shallow? Because it's like you're in workout shorts, then you leave the gym and you put your keys in there, and the workout short pocket is like this deep. So I Googled that, and they had answered the question on their business page, and they were like, we don't believe that workout shorts should have little tiny baby pockets. We think they should have real pockets for when you got to throw your cell phone in. So they answered that question. And now 3 years later, I've probably bought a couple $1,000s worth of clothes from I Am Project X. And I'll put the link here, but you made me think of that, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I came across that company, is by asking a simple question. Why are all gym shorts have shallow pockets?
That's perfect. That's like, at the end of the day, that's content marketing at its finest. And it's something that smart brands have been doing for a while, but a lot of personal brands haven't thought about it yet, or haven't, but that's how it works. And then two other great tools that I would recommend for anyone watching too, if you're getting stuck or you're like, I'm having a hard time coming up with questions. Keywords Everywhere is a great plugin that you can use, which will actually show you when you type in a question, it'll give you a ton of other recommended search terms, things that people are actually searching for. It's a free plugin you can use in Google Chrome. And then Answer the Public is another free tool too, where you can go in and type in a topic and it shows you all the different questions people are coming up with and asking online. And that'll show you, it'll actually give you proof of these are the most popular questions people are answering. And you can start crafting questions around that.
So one of them was Answer the Public, and what was the other Chrome plugin?
Keywords Everywhere.
Keywords Everywhere and Answer the Public. Yeah, because I was just going to say, where do people get started if they can't afford an agency? That's a great place to start. And what about the person that might be watching this or watches the replay? And by the way, if you're watching this, guys, like, the lovely Miss Archer is giving of herself and her time very freely and willingly, because the whole purpose of the Generate Group here is to get an exchange of value and help people get their business, their lead generation, their personal economy back on track, right? So like, if you need a personal brand to sustain your personal economy, this is for you. So if you know anybody else that needs to be in this group, please add them, click the like button, leave a comment, because we want to know that we're doing this and adding some value, which I know we are, but that little positive feedback, it's like Pavlov's dog, just ringing the bell once in a while. I like to have my mouth water. But I did want to I did want to ask, what about the person that's watching this, that's rolling their eyes and says like, well, I'm not good in front of camera, or I'm not a lovely young lady that's going to attract people to watch me when I'm doing something, or I'm not a super congenial guy who's going to get everybody all pumped up. Like, a lot of people, they're really scared about what they look like, or that they're going to say the wrong thing, or that they don't have professional photography. So what do you tell the people that are either scared, fear-based, don't know where to start? Like, what would you say to those people?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's part of why. So the kind of the other element of what I do is video confidence coaching for people. And I realized just in my work with clients over the years, how many people struggle with confidence on camera. And here's what I've learned is that it really doesn't matter what you look like. I was talking to a potential client today who's in financial services, and he's like a normal looking dude, right? Like, hopefully he doesn't watch this and is offended. But
don't worry, there's nobody more normal than me. I had to grow a beard just to hide the second chin, so you're not going to offend
I like
anybody.
the beard. I wish I could do that. I'm getting close to one with the extra pregnancy weight. But so he's, like a normal looking dude. And he was talking about, he had just started putting out videos on LinkedIn a couple months ago, and had an inbound lead from American Airlines, from someone who said, I'm watching your videos. The content, like the ideas you provided were really solid. They're now a client of his. It doesn't matter how you look. The most important thing is focusing on giving value. With that said, look, I get it. If somebody's struggling with body image or insecurities, like I spent years, my teens and 20s, struggling with eating disorder, body insecurity. So that's part of why I do this work, because I get it. If somebody's like, I feel insecure, I don't feel confident on camera, I think a couple key things help. One is, don't watch your videos before you put them out. So people will unnecessarily torture themselves if they go back and they rewatch, especially if you're struggling with confidence in front of the camera. It's like, record it, get it out there, because otherwise you're going to agonize over, I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right, and it's not necessary. Another thing would be just really, it's like your mindset with it. So shifting into that place of service. So get a picture printed out of your avatar, your ideal client. Maybe you've got a favorite customer that you love, and like put that picture right next to the record button, or the little green light that you talk to when you record, so that you feel like you're having a conversation with them, right? This applies whether you're cold calling, whether you're doing videos. You can't feel fear if you're focused on helping somebody. You may have to reorient yourself to a place of service 20 different times over the process of recording that video, but having that picture of that person who you're pretending you're speaking to them in the video, and really just grounding into, even before you hit record, like, what's going on in their life? Like, this is something I do before I create content. If I find myself feeling nervous, because I have it happen for me. I'll just really get centered on like one of my favorite clients, and I'll think about what's going on in her world right now. What is she struggling with? What are some of the financial things going on? What are some of the family things going on? And you feel the nerves just kind of like drop. You just drop into a place of service, and it's so much more powerful. And then the more you do that, the more you'll realize that it's really not hard to do. It's simple. I think one of the best things to overcome fear, insecurity on video is just to do your first one, get it out there, realize that, especially at the beginning, nobody's watching anyway, so the stakes are low. So it's like maybe your mom and your cat will see it. And so that's a good thing at the beginning. Practice, you'll get more confident with it over time, just like anything else.
Yeah, I love your idea of talking to an individual, right? This is something you suggested to me a year ago when we first did an interview. You're like, oh yeah, no, when you're talking to camera, who knows, maybe it goes viral and 4 people see it, or 4,000 or 4 million. But if you're talking to the camera to one person, it's just going to come across so much more authentic, and it makes your stress level go way down. And so, one of the reasons I love going live is I go live, and then sometimes it's a little distracting to the audience because I'm looking over here to Facebook, but like, I want to see that Melissa is watching this right now, right? I want to see that Danielle and Carrie are watching this right now, because like, then I could be like, oh yeah, there's Carrie's smiling face. I can be talking directly to her and knowing that I'm adding value. And then I don't care if I accidentally say, or if I look silly, because Carrie already knows I look silly. So it's like, it doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
Well, and that's the thing too, like people don't trust perfect. So if you're trying to make it perfect, if you're trying to be too polished, it's not like, you're actually going to alienate people. You know, you're going to alienate people more. Like, it's funny. So I'm a makeup girl. Like, I enjoy it. It's fun for me. I probably would be a makeup artist in another life. So I like that aspect of getting dressed up. But I recently had surgery on my forehead, and I've got this like big scar here that it's kind of like, it's covered with makeup pretty well now. But I did a video without my makeup on, and it was like, people loved it. It got way more engagement, way more views, way more support than my normal stuff. And so just being you, that's who we like, that's what we want. That's what people want at the end of the day, is you showing up as you are, authentically as you, because it's not really about you. So
I gotta tell you, I wasn't gonna bring it up unless you brought it up, but I DM'd you on Instagram when you had that going on, because I was like, oh man, that looks pretty rough. And I want to make sure you're okay. But I've got to tell you, because you always look so put together all the time you do anything publicly. When I saw that, I was like, oh, cool. She ain't perfect either. Like, it actually gave me a little bit of confidence to be like, all right, cool. If she can go live with the scar on her forehead and just being super raw. Like, I remember when I saw that, I had these simultaneous competing feelings of like, oh man, I hope she's okay. Hey, I'm kind of glad she didn't look her best. Like, that makes me feel better. So kudos to you for having the strength to go live and talk about something so personal to you. And I'm glad that you're doing okay.
Thank
it's
you.
scary to deal with especially when you're pregnant. What else do people need to know about that personal brand? I think sometimes people get really in the weeds, are like, well, what does my color need to be? And what is my, what should I wear? But if we're talking about personal branding, are we talking about a consistent personal thread through their entire everything, or are we just talking about be you as often as you can? Like what's important when people are thinking through their personal brand?
Yeah. So I think, to your questions, there's a little bit of both, right? There's the be you, and then there's also the consistent thread. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they decide to start building their personal brand is they immediately start thinking about the aesthetics. So they start thinking about, what's my color scheme going to be? What's my logo? What's my Instagram filter going to be? It's like, that's the fun, sexy stuff. So I get it. But the challenge is, it's kind of like you're trying to build a house without having a blueprint. So what I would encourage somebody to do is, before you start, especially if you're investing any sort of money in website, in graphic design, like all this stuff does cost money. It's cost time or money. So either way, you're going to be investing. Get your blueprint together for your brand. So some really key questions to be asking yourself are, what specific problem do I solve for people? Because people buy solutions to problems. So get really clear on, what's the problem that I solve for people? Who is my very specific audience? That's going to tell you where they're spending time. So if it makes sense to do Instagram or LinkedIn or launch a podcast or whatever. So it's going to help you stay focused. What's my revenue model going to be? So like, what am I trying to drive people to do as a result of engaging with my personal brand? Getting really clear on that. What's my positioning in the audience? So knowing what your bio is. I'm amazed at how many really talented people I work with who have great accomplishments, and frankly, their bio sucks. It's like they forget to add in achievements, or they're too humble, or it's 5 years old and it's outdated. So taking the time to make sure that you've got a polished up bio, and you're clear on your positioning and how you're going to help your people. And then really just on your overall like social media and content strategy. We can waste a lot of money on technology that we don't need. And so what I would advise to people is, let the strategy drive the technology. Get clear first on, what are you going to be doing? Are you podcasting? Are you going to be doing videos? Are you trying to speak? Are you going to do LinkedIn videos? And then from there, you can back into it with, what's the right technology? What's the right support team to help you? Then once you've got that blueprint, you start building that house, and it's going to be more beautiful. It's going to work better for you. You're going to want to live in it. So there's my corny real estate analogy for you.
Yeah, no,
relevant.
I love it, because I can't tell you how many friends I have with the whole podcasting gear, the screen, and I've made the same mistakes. Buy this camera and buy that. It's like, well, all of my video content is done from this little $99 Logitech, webcam. The $1,000 camera I bought effectively never got used, and I gave it to one of my assistants who wants to go make better video content. So I love that idea of having the strategy, and then let the house build around the blueprint. if somebody wants to get in touch with you, I want to make sure they have your contact information. We'll put your website and the links here. Is this something you do, like a consult, or you can have somebody can pay you to go through their blueprint and be like, all right, I might not manage your life and your social media forever, but I can at least help you with the blueprint. Is that something you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the way that my team and I help people is we just like to get to know you first to see what's going on for you. What are you looking to do? Where are you stuck? To see if you're a good fit for us as a client and if we're a good fit to help you as well. And so what we offer is just a complimentary brand strategy call for anybody who's interested, where we really dig into what are the goals, where do you feel stuck, where are you running into any challenges, and then from there kind of help map out, okay, what would the strategy be to accomplish your goals. And so, I mean, my team is exceptional. We work with everyone from people who are just starting out to literally some of the top personal brands in the world. So you're getting expert guidance from someone who is working with some of the top personal brands out there today. So someone can absolutely receive that call complimentary, and you just need to go to freebrandcall.com/EA to get registered for your call. So freebrandcall.com/EA, you can get registered for a call, and would love, love, love to meet and connect with anybody who is looking to grow their brand and grow their reputation in their space.
I know you're not into name dropping, so I won't use the gentleman's name, but on that bookshelf is one of my favorite authors, and you guys help his personal brand. And he's the really big deal, which means you guys are a really big deal. So at some point I'll have to get an introduction because I love both of his books, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So we'll talk about that at a later time.
Sure,
but on that shelf, I've got Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And one of the things that people are making fun of me about in this Generate group is like, oh, so you got this big group, you're going to try to get thousands and thousands of people in here. Like, what's your return on investment? Like, what's your sales strategy? You're going to try to sell. I'm like, no, I'm not selling them any mortgages, because I got a bunch of mortgage people in here, and I don't even do mortgages outside of Southern California. I'm not selling anybody coaching. It's like, I don't have that return on investment. I'm really just doing this for altruistic purposes. But if people are thinking through building their personal brand, and they're like, okay, I want to give till it hurts, I want to ask questions, or I want to answer questions, I want to, open up a little bit more than I even feel comfortable, and show a little bit about my personal life and my family. When is the appropriate time, or with what consistency, 10% of the time, every fourth post, like where's the ask for the business, right? Because you and I have seen people where it's like, they put out content, and then you and I meet them at a conference, and they're like, oh yeah, I made $40,000 last year. And I'm like, well, you can't survive in Southern California if you're making $40,000 a year. So you can give it till it hurts, but at some point you got to remind people you're here to make a living. So where is that line in the sand where people, give till it hurts, give out value, but then also let people know, like, hey, a little something for the effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a fundamental mindset shift too, where I think it's like any sort of shaming of somebody who is putting themselves out there and giving, where people are like, okay, there's an ulterior motive. I hope culturally we can drop that, because at the end of the day, you deserve to be well supported financially for the work that you do. And that's really a shift in mindset of there can be it's a both and. You can give and help people. And yes, you should make great money in exchange for doing that as well. So that's part of why I recommend getting clear on what's the business model and what's the strategy. And it's like, yes, there's an element of strategy to it, but too, like, what's the end result that you want to have happen as a result of putting out this content? Because you need to be able to feed your family. You need to have financial relaxation. You need to make great money in order to accomplish your goals for most of us. So getting clear first on what are you driving people to with your content, with what you're putting out, whether it's a free call, whether it's a program, whatever it is, you want to be clear on that first. Now, in terms of the balance of the content, I think Gary's book, which you recommended, is a great one and a great resource. And I think what he says, and what I typically recommend too, is it's like every 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 3 is cool to do an ask. I probably give more. Like, when I think about my own strategy, I probably give more. It's probably like 1 out of every 5 or 6. There's not really like a set number, but for someone who's like, I need a percentage, think about it that way. But at the end of the day, the idea is you build up relationship equity with people. You give a lot, you help them out. Then when you have something that you are promoting or something that you do want to do, it's like you've built up that relationship bank to the point where you can ask and feel good about it. So there's definitely, it skews, it should always skew in terms of giving value. And my mindset with it is, if someone never buys from me, even if like, I still want to teach everything I know online for free, because people don't pay for information today. They pay for organization and application. So give away everything you know for free, one bite at a time. Your customers, your best clients are the ones who are going to be watching you and saying, oh my gosh, like he knows what he's talking about. She knows what she's talking about. This is the person I want to hire and work with. So it will come back to you, and you deserve to be financially well supported for your work in that. So I wouldn't shy away from being like, yeah, I'm offering a free call. Yeah, I'm offering this. Like, it's just, that's how the economy works.
And you know what I love about you personally, and the people that I think are doing this doing this well, is that you are authentically you. You know, when you offer to do a free brand strategy call, I know that you're not looking at it as, okay, I got to put my lead magnet out there, and then I'm going to get 300 people to respond, and then we're going to convert this, and this is going to put money. Like, I know you're just authentically saying like, hey man, let's jump on a call and see if we're good to work with each other, or if we could even help you. Maybe you're not the right fit for us, or vice versa. And so I just want to say, I appreciate you, first of all, for being so authentically you. One more time, if people want to get that brand strategy call with you, what is that again?
Sure thing. Yeah, it's freebrandcall.com/EA. You can get registered for a free call there. Yeah.
And then what is the last piece of advice that we need to leave the audience with as far as brand strategy or growing their presence, we will say?
This is a good one. Okay. Here's, at the end of the day, with everything I do, I firmly believe generosity is a time bender. The more you give, the more you help, the more you focus on being of service and showing up. And like I said, giving away everything you know for free. It's going to speed up the process for you. It's going to speed up the lead generation process. It's going to speed up your business growth process. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel good too. So don't be afraid to share what you know. Don't be afraid to be helpful, to be of service. That's what's going to help you just speed up and expedite that process of growing your business. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's like, it's also your legacy. You're helping people, you're serving people. So be extremely generous with what you share. And sometimes in ways you do not expect, it will come back to you. It always does.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Stay safe out there in Atlanta with you and your family. And I'm looking forward to seeing the baby pictures here in about 2 months, right? 60 days, something like that.
Coming soon. Yep. Both Jason and I are working on a bump together. So we'll be taking bump photos
Perfect.
soon together for social. So thanks so much
awesome.
for having me on.
No, we appreciate you. Anytime you want to come on and talk about branding, we love you. We appreciate it. And all of your information is in the comments. People can seek you out there. And then, let us know how things are going for you.
Will do. Thanks so much, Scott.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.